Okay, Joey, it's been a long time.
It has, man. It's been
Yeah,
what, near about 20 years?
probably 20 years. I
Yeah,
couldn't
probably
I,
so.
I couldn't imagine the last time that I saw you, probably I guess when we graduated.
Oh, that would have been you because I didn't graduate either time. So,
Okay,
um,
okay,
I think the last time I saw you, you were playing "Don't Fear the Reaper" at Finian's,
okay.
and
Was that
it
there
was,
was some open mic nights at
yeah, yeah.
at
That was
at Finian's.
that was the first place I ever played in Jackson. Right, right before I went to college, I went there and I played an open mic night, and then we started college that fall, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
That's incredible because that is the first place I ever played in front of anyone was at Finian's.
Really? See, that was the thing because I like back then, like I didn't even know that you played.
Still don't.
But
Yeah,
that was what was so cool about it. I was like, oh man, it's Josh. And he sounds great. Like, what is this? I didn't even know he played, man, So I mean we had mutual friends and everything, but like you and I didn't get to hang out all the time, back in
right,
college. But
right.
so it was so cool to me, and like I've never forgotten that, the first time I saw you play at Finian's. And I saw
Yeah.
you play a couple more times after that too. But yeah, man, that's so cool.
I think we if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a long time, but I think you jumped on Paranoid Android with
Yeah,
me, maybe?
probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that was so much fun. That
Oh
was
yeah.
incredible. Okay, so look, our background, we did go to the same college at
Yeah.
the same time. And my recollection of you, I think, is probably the first time you played in front of, I guess, the student body for a welcoming or a talent show. I forget what it was. It was in this auditorium. And were you playing fake plastic trees, maybe?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember just going, who is this guy? Like, holy cow. And then literally every girl in the audience was just done. It was just over. It was like, this guy is just, he's just one. He's one freshman year.
I'm glad somebody saw it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
No, it was incredible stuff. And then so you were very busy during college playing music.
I was. I had a band called Geronimo Rex back then, and
Yeah.
we played all over the place. Had some decent regional success, and did that and dropped out of college after 2 years to kind of pursue that the first time around.
Yeah. So that fill me in on that because I'm a little unfamiliar with the actual story. So you left school
Yes.
and the idea was I'm just going to hit the road, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, that's what we were trying to do is, do the band thing full time and really had no idea what we were doing. So everybody kind of quit their jobs. We moved into this really big house together and we just played all the time, anywhere we could, all around the Southeast. Um, and, kind of after a year or so of that, things just kind of started falling apart a little bit with the band dynamic. And,
Yeah.
we got kicked out of the house. So everybody kind of went their separate ways and had to stay with friends and family. And, uh, we played a few more shows, probably our biggest show at Hal and Mal's. I think for a long time we held the record for the most people from a local band
Yeah.
um, at that last show. But yeah, it was, Jeremy, Richie Lister were in the band. And so Jeremy decided to move to Nashville, and he's been there ever since, and really has made such a fantastic career for himself. I couldn't be more proud of him. And so kind of after that, myself, me, and Vince Johnston and Ryan Rogers, we kind of kept going with Geronimo Rex as a three-piece
Hmm.
and recorded a ton of songs that we never really released.
Where are you living at this time?
We were living in part of it was we were up in Batesville, and the other part of it we were back in Jackson, the
Okay.
Jackson area. So
Okay.
um, so yeah, that kind of kept going. Um,
How many years did you keep riding that?
Probably 5 years, 5 more years after the six-piece band broke up. So,
Yeah.
and then I worked construction back then. I went back to school for a couple of years, got closer to my degree, but ended up having a couple of fractured vertebra and
Ooh,
herniated discs. So I had to drop out kind of right
yeah.
toward the end there, and got those better, and then started working construction. And I worked construction for a good while, and just played shows on the weekends. Um,
So, and you're like working construction. Are you still in Batesville? Is that right?
I was in Jackson at that
In
point.
Jackson. Okay.
hmm And
So,
so yeah, so I basically did everything I could to support playing music on the weekends and every night that I could until the time where I started playing enough shows that I made more money playing music than working construction full time. So that's kind of when I made the switch to doing that full time.
and so is that where you are now? Are you still like what are you doing today? Like
Oh, what
what's
am I
up with
doing
that?
today?
Yeah.
Yeah, today I live in Long Beach, Mississippi, and I was in Nebraska for about 6 years after I got married, and had a couple kids, and we decided to move back down to Mississippi to kind of be closer to family.
Right.
And but I made some good friends up there. I bought a coffee shop, still have the coffee shop called the Meadowlark, and I played there every week, hosted open mic there in Lincoln, Nebraska, and then we moved down here, and I've been full time dad. Uh, but my day job right now is kind of I've been writing custom instrumental music for shows on Disney and Nat Geo for the last 3 years.
Really?
Um, yeah, so me and Vince and Ryan actually. So we get the requests from these shows, and then we write the batch of songs, send them in, and then they go on the shows, and um, so it's not really there's no vocals, it's all instrumental stuff. But it's
Mhm.
been a really cool experience. We've done some albums for different publishers, so we've been doing a lot of production music for the last 3 years. But during that time, I started writing my own songs and decided that I wanted to give the solo artist thing a crack. So I've been doing that and recording songs, and just released the first one in March of this year.
Okay. So perfect. This is I guess somehow, you know how Facebook or whoever they are now, they kind of like show you people.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe a few years ago I saw you and I was like, man, I'd love to just see what this guy's up to.
Yeah.
So I've been
Yeah.
kind of following along for a little while and noticed that you were, obviously you do a lot of playing online, like you're playing songs and
Yeah.
I don't know if you're just kind of working stuff out or if these are finished. I'm just like, oh man, that sounds good. Well, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Thanks,
What?
man. Yeah. I started posting snippets because I didn't really post any of my own music on social media stuff ever. Um, so when I decided I was going to do this, I said, okay, well, before I start releasing stuff, I'm just going to try to build a little bit of a following on some different social media platforms. And this is a good way to kind of just put, you know, snippets of things out there and just gauge what the reaction is from different people and really try to find an audience. So that's really why I started posting anything on social media, was just to try to find a small audience to build on, and try to find a community.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not like when we were in our 20s. The way to have an audience is not the same. You don't really go and get a record deal now and do all of that stuff. It's really more you do everything yourself
Mm-hmm.
until the point where you can um, find the right people to network with and to kind of be a part of your team and help take it to that next level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that was really the goal of it. Was at first was just let's just see what people think about these songs that I'm writing.
Yeah.
Um, so I started posting on TikTok, um, and man, I got just really great responses from people.
On
I kind of,
TikTok.
yeah, I really wasn't expecting that because I don't do any of the, the normal TikTok stuff. You're not gonna see me on there doing the dances
They're
and
not
whatnot.
dances.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
nobody wants to see a 45-year-old man do that. Um, but yeah, I just started posting stuff of myself playing and singing, and then it kind of evolved a little bit into, what are some life lessons that I've learned that I might want to share with my kids. Right now they're too young to know what these things are, but maybe if they find my TikTok when they're 15 or 20 or 30, whatever, who knows if it'll be around that long, but this might be um, something that they might want to hear their dad say, something they might want to learn from me.
Yeah.
Uh, so I started posting kind of some narrative pieces too, and that's really what more of what it developed into. People resonate that resonated with people as well, and so that's kind of what I do on there. Is I post my music and I post narrative pieces and um, kind of making it a time capsule really for my kids to find and get to know me through my music and through these different hopefully life lessons that I can teach them or just talk to them about and just get to know me on a deeper level when they're older.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just kind of been what I've done. So yeah, it's been cool. It's I've been really surprised at the community that I've found on there. Uh, all the different kinds of people that I've met, and what really surprised me is there are a lot of people that duet my songs,
Mm-hmm.
and from all over the world, and that's so cool to me. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
favorite feature of TikTok.
Uh-huh.
Just to have people sing along. Like you could duet anything, any cover, any song that and you chose to duet something of mine that you've only heard me ever do. Like that's I'm honored by that,
Yeah. But
and humbled as well. So
what a what a different um universe for music than when we grew up, right? Like you're talking
absolutely.
about this kind of self-contained place where you got snippets, you got just narrative things you're throwing out there. And the way people are responding to it is not like you and I, where we would buy the CD or whatever and put it in the player and just live with it. It feels just like a totally different way to do music.
It is, and it's a different way to have community because like in the digital world that we live in now, it's not like you can just I mean, I know it still happens, but it's not like it was when we were in college and stuff, where you just go show up at somebody's house and play songs for a few hours. You don't have that kind of face-to-face interaction as much as you used to when we were younger, before we had smartphones. And so now it's a way to really find an audience all across the globe, and that's what's cool to me, because like I would never be able to play my songs in front of half of the people that follow me on the platforms
Yeah.
if I was just having to do it live. I wouldn't have that opportunity, and I'm really grateful for that. I've made
Mm-hmm.
some really good friends um, by just putting stuff out there, and it's I mean, when you write music, you're really just hoping that somebody else hears it and goes, "Yeah, I've been there," or "I am there," or that that said something to me that nothing else I've heard said.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's you know, so to have that feedback from people has just been has been the thing that's kind of kept me going and kept me wanting to write more and more music.
Yeah. Well, man, listen, I'm so excited because I heard the new song Balloon. I guess it's not the you got one coming later, but the song
Yeah, this,
Balloon. Yeah, I heard the song Balloon, and I was just floored. I was just like, this is incredible. Like, it
thank you.
sounds so good. Do you record this song, or how'd you get it
Yeah,
recorded?
I recorded it myself, and then I got Vince to mix and master it for me.
Yeah,
Um, you know, he's great at mixing and mastering. I mean, just production in general. You know, he was able to take it way farther than I have myself, and so I gave it to him because I trust him. And but yeah, everything else I recorded here in my little home studio, spare bedroom, whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
Um, and so, hang on one second, buddy. My 5-year-old.
He wants in.
Yeah, he does.
He wants in on the action. Um,
Yeah.
so Joey, I got to tell you, man. I've been an amateur songwriter for a long time, and um, I try to do it as much as I can. Work and kids, and it's all those.
One second. Sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize for the interruption.
Oh, all good, man. Hey, we got the edit button. It's all good. Um, what I was getting at there is listening to your song. So a couple things hit me. Your voice is a really great. I think of voices as being what's the word? They they are communicators of different emotions. Like there's just certain voices that like can hold certain emotions really, really well. Um, and when I hear your voice, man, I can hear such like like a sadness and a depth to what you're saying. And I'm just wondering, is that how do you, when you hear that, what do you think? Because when you're creating this music and you're making, you're writing, do you feel like, this is that this is coming from kind of a darker place, a sadder place, or where do you kind of go to get that?
It's I first off, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get there with the voice. I've always sung, since I can remember. Grew up singing in the car with my parents and my sisters, and I've just always sung, but I never felt like, even back in college, that I was the greatest messenger. My voice didn't have the gravel, it didn't have the wisdom, it didn't have the experience yet. And it took me a long time to get there. And, um, you know, I always felt like it was a little bit kid like for a long time. Um, but I played in this band with Vince as well, and a guy named Adib Sabir. He's from Jackson, and he's a kind of a blues and jazz artist. Um, and we were in a band called Paperclip Scientists with him that was more like world music. Um, and man, the first time we ever heard him sing, we said, we have to write songs for him to sing. We have to get him on record because his voice just had something about it that just pulled you in. It made you want to listen to what he was saying. And through that experience and writing songs for him to sing, and then having to also singing those songs myself, when I would go out and play solo shows, I would sing the songs too, but I would sing them like Adib would sing them. And I learned how to be able to put that emotion into it, to put that depth into it that I couldn't when I was 20 years old. Um, the breath carries so much of the message. And so now I'm doing songs that I wish I could have done when I was in high school. It's in that alt country type style, folk alternative type style that I just didn't have the life experience to write when I was in my teens and early 20s.
Mm,
I hadn't lived enough life to actually really write those songs from an authentic place.
yeah.
And the thing that started me writing these songs is that after having kids, I realized there was so much of myself that I had never learned how to deal with. And these songs were my way of learning how to have a relationship with myself,
Mm.
recognizing what I'd been through, what I'm going through right now, and learning how to talk to myself in a way that wasn't just so overly critical that, I could never do anything right. So it was trying to speak to myself in a way that was honest, but also recognized that there's hope within that.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these songs may sound like they're from a sad place, but I think it's just from the place of admittance and acceptance and being able to say, yeah, man, this has been hard, but look where you can go from here. Look at what you've learned out of this. Um, I'm not very good at writing songs about other people, like past relationships or things like that, because I never liked pointing the finger at somebody else. But I'm fine pointing the finger at myself, and I'm fine being brutally honest with myself. And I tried to do these songs in a way that would be universal enough that anybody listening could apply it to any relationship they've ever been in. For me, it just happens to be my relationship with myself because that's the one that's the hardest for me.
Yeah.
Um, and I wanted my kids to be able to hear it too and go, you know, Dad was a little bit more deep than than he let on sometimes. He thought about deep things, and you know, he struggled with this too. And it's okay that I'm struggling with it now. You know, I just so that's kind of where these things came from. And Balloon was a sadder song to start out with. But of all the ones that I'd recorded up until this point, that was the one that felt the most authentic to me.
Mm.
It's like this is a good introduction to where I am in the moment, and where I intend to go.
Yeah. And I love that what you're saying is it's unapologetic, right? And that you're not giving a self-help talk. You're not preaching. It sounds like the goal is to be as in the moment as you can be and as honest as you can be. And through that, I think my opinion is that that's what people are connecting to, is that they hear that and they go, I mean, just on a very basic level, yeah, I know what he's feeling. And
Right.
that's the power of what you're doing.
I hope so. I hope that it can connect on different levels. I hope that it can, that you can take it. That's the thing I love about music. You can take it as deep as you want to take it. You know, it can mean this on the surface level, but if you dig and dig and dig a little bit more, you can really find something worthwhile underneath all of that.
Yeah.
And that's where I hope that it sits, that wherever you are, that it at least relates to you enough to go, yeah, I felt that.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you hadn't felt that, maybe you can at least hear that I feel it. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I mean, I want it to come from a place of non-judgment for other people. That like that's the thing you don't learn when you're younger, really, or at least I didn't. Was like that it's okay to say these things. It's okay to admit these things to yourself. It's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to deal with disappointment, and it's okay to not have yourself figured out. You know, um, nobody really taught me any of that stuff.
Mm.
Or if they did, it was in a different context, but it didn't necessarily apply from a real life perspective.
Yeah.
Not for me. So I had to learn a lot of lessons, and I had to learn them late because I had kids when I was 39, you know,
Hmm.
and that changed everything for me. Um, and still does every single day. It changes everything for me. And uh, so these songs have been a great outlet for being able to say all of the things that, you know, I mean, most of my conversations now are with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. I don't have much adult interaction anymore these days.
I don't know if I'm helping,
So,
but
no, this is great. This is great.
yeah,
Nice to talk to an adult.
yeah.
So yeah, these things are cathartic in the way that it's nice to be able to say them out loud, and nice to have other people say, "I hear you, man. I hear you." You know.
Yeah.
So, not every song will be sad. I always like to try to, no matter how sad it is, I like for there to be a glimmer of hope,
Hmm.
because that's what keeps us all going. You know, there's always a little bit of light coming through the clouds.
So I'm so impressed by the length of time that you've been working on this, and putting the song out that you just put out, and we're the same age, and you know, that's a long time, but it sometimes takes a long time. Sometimes it's the life that you have to earn. There's a song I was working on the other day where it had literally taken me 20 years to finish this verse.
Understand?
20 years. And I'm like, I think I got it. I think I got it. Uh, so man, what an appreciation I have for you. And I mean, honestly, man, your gift, I think about you just putting out music now, and I'm wishing for more. I'm wanting more, obviously, but I'm thinking and looking back what you're talking about, the I guess you would say some struggles with self-doubt and your voice and all these things. And I'm just kind of like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Just like put stuff out. This is great. Like this is you are incredibly talented. And I'm not just saying that. Like I like, you know,
Thank you.
I've listened to God, man, I've seen so many shows, and you know, I've been around music a long time, and I feel like I've got a very decent handle on when you hear something that makes you go, okay, like, wait a minute. It just kind of stops you, right? When you hear something that's got that kind of weight and gravity to it, it just immediately catches you and immediately makes you go, okay, this is something. And that's what I'm hearing right off the bat. And so if nothing else, I want to give you an encouragement for what I'm hearing, because man, you are very much gifted. And I love the first song. I thought it was incredible.
I really appreciate that, man. That really means a lot to me. Truly. Um, it's taken this long to do my own thing because I didn't think any of what you just said was true about me, you know. I mean, I understand everybody's their own harshest critic, you know, but um, like working with Vince. Vince is a phenomenal lyricist, you know. So singing his lyrics for 20 years helped me grasp an understanding of lyrics in a way that I couldn't write them that way. I couldn't write them that way until recently. And then also, like, I think once I decided that I was never going to be able to write lyrics the way he does, or the way that my heroes do, like Matthew Ryan or Joe Henry or Tom Waits or Tom York. I mean, just I had to find my own way to say things, and I had to be okay with how I said things.
Mm, yeah.
And that was the biggest thing for me, to like finally be okay with, like, all right, I actually do have something to say, and I'm really I'm really okay with how I'm saying it. And that that's what's taken this long. That's, everybody thinks like, oh man, if I just keep it this, everybody's going to know who I am in a few years. And it's what you think when you're young, but
Right.
but now it's so much more that, like, I just want to leave a legacy of what I hope are good songs for my kids.
Yeah.
and anybody else who might need them too, but especially my kids. I
Yeah.
want my kids to be able to listen to this and go and feel like I'm always still right there, you know?
You may feel a similar way, but I think, I have all these songs written, hundreds, thousands, who knows, and I'll never get to putting them all out. But when you look at like old pictures of your grandpa,
Yeah,
like you see these old pictures and you see these like old cars and they're standing around and you want to know more. I do. I look at the picture and I'm like, man, I want to know more about this person. And I think to a degree, I I want those songs out just so you're kind of saying like, hey, don't forget about me. Like I was this person, you
right.
know? Do you connect with that in any way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's this has always been a part this has been a part of my life since I was 15 years old. Writing songs, playing music. I don't get to do that as much anymore. So, it very much is this thing of saying, "Hey, this is part of who I am. This is part of who I've always been. It's who I chose to be." And I want you to know that too. I want you to experience that with me too. Even though I'm not on the road all the time, I'm not touring all over the place. Whatever success looks like for everybody else, I, you know, I have these songs, and I think I think they're worth hearing, and I want to give these to you. Money doesn't matter, success doesn't matter. Like it's successful for me to just be able to put these things out, to actually have stuff on the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
To hopefully at the end of this year have a vinyl album out. Like that's important to me, because it makes it feel like I haven't wasted the last quarter century of my life.
Mm-hmm.
That all of those experiences led to this point
Mm.
where um, I'm able to have a message
Yeah.
that resonates. So it's funny that you mentioned like your grandfather too. Like my granddad was a Baptist minister, and he was always against me playing in bars. Um,
I'm
you know,
familiar.
yeah.
Yeah.
But uh, the year before he passed away, around Christmas, I went to go visit him and my grandmother, and I'd been listening to that Johnny Cash CD, one of the ones he did with Rick Rubin, like the unearthed Johnny Cash. It's just one where it's just him and an acoustic guitar. There's like 16 songs on it. And I played some of those for my granddad, and it's just me and a guitar. And he looked at me like he was just hearing me play and sing for the first time. And it was a beautiful moment because he loved music. He was a great bass voice, and he was always singing, always whistling. And I got so much of my love for music from him because music was always a joyful thing for him. But to have that connection with him right there at the end, for him to kind of look at me and go, "Oh, I think I kind of get it now. I think I understand why you've been doing this for as long as you have." And it was that there was something about the recognition in his smile, in his face, that took all those years of tension and erased them.
Yeah.
And it almost like it gave me permission to just keep going, to just
Mm.
keep doing the thing. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that we had that experience. And so when you said that about seeing pictures of your grandfather and just kind of wanting to know more of the story and wanting to understand more of what his experience was in the world, that's it very much resonates with me.
Yeah. And now, full circle, you're doing something that your grandchildren and children and great grandchildren and who knows how long the world keeps going, but
Right.
uh that they'll be able to look in on and listen to, and if nothing else, like I think this is so cool to feel the way you felt. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that would be a special thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would have given just about anything if my grandfather had made an album, you know, or my dad. My dad has always talked about, he's been a musician. He was a minister of music for, well, he still is, even after he retired, he's still a minister of music. And that's always been a really big connection for the two of us as well. But there's part of me that wishes when he was in college, he could have recorded an album with his college band.
Yeah.
Just to hear him have that experience, just and for me to experience that. So I I recognize how much of a privilege it is for me to even be able to do this, to have the capability of recording myself and actually putting things out so that my kids can have the kind of experience that I didn't quite get.
Yeah. I love it. Um, okay, Joey. So our little time thing is running up here. But first off, I want to thank you for making the time to talk about this with me.
Hey,
This
thanks so much for asking me, man.
man, I love making music. I love writing music, but I love talking to people about music and what it means to them. Because when when you talk to people that love music the way that you do, it's just such a special thing. And there's like a place that both of us can go that's fun to go to, that it's
Right.
fun to talk about. Look at that guy. He's sticking in back there.
I
He's like,
know
it's
we're
my
getting
time.
close.
It's my time. And he's got the turtle shirt too. I love
That's
it.
right. Yeah, we're
Uh,
we're big into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Hey, bud, can you give me about 5 more minutes?
yeah,
Okay,
he's in
thanks,
there.
man.
So I'll tell you this last thing before I go. We do a river trip to Alton, Missouri with, I don't know, about 12 to 16 of the guys that all went to Mississippi College with, maybe Van, uh,
Yeah,
uh, Big Nick, we called him, and Kevin, Kevin Wells, sometimes Jason Brewer, some of those guys that I'm sure
yeah,
you're
yeah.
familiar with. And we have a river playlist that we make every year. And so we contribute 5 songs to the river playlist. And so it's constantly playing while we're just floating for 3 days. And I promise you, your track will be on this year on the River Now playlist 2025. And
Thanks, man.
yeah,
That's an honor because I miss those guys, and what a cool experience, you know.
oh, it was, and look, man, I got to tell you, those shows, the Geronimo Rex shows, those are some amazing shows. I, 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 I was always floored to see you guys. I was always so excited to go out to Howlin' Mouse or wherever you guys were playing because it was, man, such a great show and the harmonies were fantastic. Before I go, I got to tell you this one story because we got 1 minute left. I was in Nashville. I lived there for a year and I got sick. And so I had to go to this, like, you don't have any insurance, like community care. And I
Yeah,
looked over, sitting in the waiting room. This guy was across from me and he looked like he had been just beaten to death. And it was Jeremy Lister.
yeah.
And he recognized me kind of. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? He goes, I fell off a roof. And I was like, oh, that looks like that hurts. Anyways, man, I gotta go. Joey, thank you so much. I love it. Please keep going. Please keep
I
going.
will, man. Thanks so much, Josh. Great to talk to you.